Hello friends, Heidi here from Rain Country. God is good all the time. And today I'm going to show you how to make a pumpkin dip with a few variations so that you can be creative and add your own flair to it. This is a great dip to use this time of the year, the fall season, especially for Thanksgiving, and can be used with fruit slices, especially apple, or some kind of cookies like ginger cookies, ginger snaps, or even used as a spread on some kind of yummy quick bread, like even a pumpkin bread or a zucchini bread or banana bread. So let's get to this super easy recipe, and I hope you enjoy it. What I'm using today is, I'm just going to be making what would be considered a half batch. Typically this is done in a batch twice this size, so keep that in mind. So I'm going to be starting with 1 cup of pumpkin. This is homegrown pumpkin, I believe from 2014 or 15. I don't remember. There's one year I grew a lot of pumpkin, and I still have tons in my freezer. So 1 cup is what I'm starting with of pureed pumpkin. See me throwing it all over the place like I always tend to do. Okay, and then the next ingredient is that I'm going to use today is going to be homemade goat cheese, and I made this one a little richer by using some whipping cream in it and kept it a little softer for the sake of using it more as a cream cheese replacement. And I did experiment the other day to see if I would like it, and it worked out pretty good. So what you want is approximately equal amounts. If you use this or if you use cream cheese, you want about equal amounts of cream cheese to pumpkin. So I want 1 cup of the cheese. Let's get that in there. And this is the perfect consistency for blending. Okay. And now let's go ahead and use my, yes, I had to go ahead and buy a brand new one because Mr. Rain did try to fix that one by heating it up, but it almost worked, but then not quite. So I love my OXO hand mixer. It just works easiest for me. And somebody mentioned that they thought I was left-handed, and maybe most right-handed people would actually hold this way. But to me, I don't know, that feels awkward. I'm actually right-handed, but my mom is left-handed, so there's a lot of things I actually do left-handed, like iron my clothes or whatever. In fact, I didn't even know there was such thing as left or right-handed ironing until I went to college and wondered why the ironing boards were all backwards. Now your spices is where you're going to want to decide how much flavor you like. Now if you've been following me for a while, you'll know that we like a lot of flavor, so I tend to go heavy on a lot of things most people would not, such as cloves, for example. Cloves are something that are very strong, and I suggest, if you even just think you like cloves, start with maybe in this batch only 1/8 of a teaspoon to start with, and then work up from there and see what you like, because it can get overpowering if you go a little too crazy. For me, I'm going to go right to 1/2 teaspoon for this, which is quite a bit. 1/2 teaspoon would probably be a lot even for a double batch. Cinnamon, you can typically go a little heavier on. I'm going to start with a tablespoon. There, I'm going to start with a tablespoon. I'm a little crazy there. You may want to start, if you're going to do a batch this small, I would say start with a teaspoon of that and the ginger. But I'm going right for the tablespoon of both. The cinnamon and the ginger are the 2 most important ones in here. The cloves are definitely optional, but me, anytime I'm doing something that's very fall-ish, cloves have got to be in it. I love cloves. So let's kind of mix that in there a little bit, just to get, I want to get an idea of my consistency here. And then I'm going to grate in some nutmeg. I should have one here that's already started. Now, you can buy ground nutmeg, which I used to do. Oh, I love nutmeg, until I found out that it's one of those things that your best are like wheat berries and flaxseed, to grind it up just when you need it, not ahead of time, because it can go rancid. So I'm just going to grate in a little bit. I don't know, it's probably going to be about 1/8 of a teaspoon. The wonderful thing about all these seasonings, from nutmeg, cinnamon, ginger, and cloves, every single one of them is really wonderful at immune boosting. So that is why we tend to crave these kind of spices this time of the year, because it's when we need them most. They help our bodies fight off all the crud that's going around. So I just think that's super cool. Okay, now, next you're going to want some kind of sweetener. I recommend using a good organic maple syrup. That's going to give you the best flavor, especially for fall. But you could also do your homemade brown sugar, and I will link to my video on how you can make your own organic brown sugar right up here. Really easy, only takes 2 ingredients, and or even some coconut sugar, which I was considering adding to this, but looking at the thickness of this as it is, I think I might go all maple syrup. So what I'm going to start with is I think 1/2 cup's going to be plenty for this. And so if you're doing a double batch, I would actually say start with 1/2 cup and work your way up from there. I don't think you're going to want to go more than 1 cup of any kind of sweetener if you're doing the double batch. Okay, let's mix that up really good. Okay, this is the point where you're going to want to taste it and see how your spices are and your sweetening, and see if this is going to be the way you like it. Because you may want to add more at this point, or you may be happy with it just as is. It could actually stand maybe just a dash of salt and maybe a little bit of coconut sugar, so I think I'm going to throw that in there too. Today I'm using the pink Himalayan salt, and I will link to that below, as well as the red mineral salt that I'm always talking about. So I just did a couple little sprinkles of that, and I'm going to add a little bit of coconut sugar. Now, some other thoughts you might want to consider is, I'm only putting, maybe about 1 tablespoon to 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar in there. There we go, it's about 2 tablespoons right there. Alright, now for another spice I decided to try for the first time this year in this, because I'm getting more adventurous with the turmeric, and the color of this I think could stand to be a little bit more vibrant. So I'm going to start with just about 1/2 teaspoon of the turmeric. Now, I did do a taste test with a small amount first to see if I was even going to like it, and it tastes really good. So let's just give this a try. Okay, I would say that 1/2 teaspoon in this batch is just right for flavor. So I'm not going to add any more. I was tempted to add more, but it's one of those things that you can, just like the cloves, you can easily get too much. So let me go over the ingredients I used in amounts again, so that you can have it all in one. Now, considering I used a real soft goat cheese in this, if you did like a store-bought organic cream cheese, that it's going to be a little bit thicker than this. However, this is still pretty thick. So if you do the cream cheese and you want this consistency, you may need to add more pumpkin or something to balance it out, so that you can get the consistency that you want. And then again, I just serve it with some ginger snap cookies. I've tried in it before, is really good. And but my favorite is just apple slices, and then using this as a dip. Very, very good. So I'm sure you can think of some other fruits that would be really good, like pear slices would be really good. And just be creative with it, and be creative with your spices as well, and see how many different ways you can use your pumpkin dip. And hopefully, if you've never tried it before, maybe this might be a new winner for your Thanksgiving dinner. All right, hope you enjoyed this video and that you learned something new. Thanks for watching. Take care, and God bless.